Choosing the right pension payout option will be one of the most impactful retirement decisions you ever make. In this video, I'm going to show you two things. In the beginning, I'm going to show you the model math that tells you exactly how impactful it is if you were to make a mistake or inappropriately choose the wrong pension payout option. After that, I'm going to show you how you understand the 2 or 3 step framework to select the right pension payout option and then use your pension estimator, whatever tool is provided by your employer, in order to get the right estimates so that you can then make calculations about how much in outside saved assets you'll need in order to retire appropriately. So let's begin with some pension math. The first thing you have to understand, and if you haven't already watched my prior video, there's a video I did called When Can I Retire? And in it, I explain the formula that is called the required portfolio income formula. Now, this formula is the linchpin of your entire retirement, and your pension factors into this in a very material way. The formula basically is you have a desired spending, which is how much you'd like to spend each year in retirement, less your guaranteed income sources, which is Social Security, pensions, and annuities. The difference between those numbers determines your required portfolio income, which in turn determines how much in portfolio assets you need to have saved up in order to retire successfully without running out of money while alive. Now, your pension plays a hugely pivotal role in that. We'll put the math on the screen here. So let's do an example of that formula. Let's say you want to spend $60,000 per year in retirement. You have Social Security of $12,000 a year and a pension estimate of $36,000 per year. When you add or subtract all that together, you end up with $60,000 minus the $48,000 of combined guaranteed income, and you end up with a required portfolio income calculation of $12,000 per year. Now, for the sake of this math illustration, let's assume that that's a flat level payment. There's no such thing as inflation. Could always get more complicated, but the model and principle will yield the same result. In this case, you need $12,000 flat level per year. Let's use a 30-year retirement, which is kind of the financial planning gold standard. In this situation, you would need $360,000 of portfolio assets to support 30 years of $12,000 per year payments. You'd run out of money at the end of the 30 years, but let's assume that's okay. In this case, you need $360K. Well, what if through a selection error or through lack of knowledge, you make an estimation error when you're calculating how much you'll get from your pension, and when you actually arrive at your retirement, your pension's much smaller than you thought it would be? What if that number is, instead of $36,000, it's $18,000? Now your required portfolio income goes from $12,000 per year to $30,000 per year. And using that same flat level estimate, you need an asset pool of $900,000 in order to meet that for 30 years, compared to the $360,000 that you would have thought you'd require. That's a $540,000 difference, and you and I both all know this. That's a huge extra amount of saving and investment risk you might need to take on in order to achieve that. So there's a huge margin for error there. So that just illustrates the power and importance of getting your pension decision correct and also understanding how to estimate it correctly. Now, let's talk about how to choose your pension estimate correctly, or how to understand which of the pension payout options is appropriate for you, because that is ultimately going to determine how much your estimate shows and what you're going to eventually claim. So there's really 2 steps to this. The first step is understand your payout options. And then the second step is understanding how to run the estimation correctly so that you don't make incorrect assumptions and then blow the whole thing up. So there are basically four payout options available to most pension holders. You're going to have what's called a single life payout option. This is where you are paid out or insured on only the life of the owner of that pension. If that person were to die, there's no beneficiary, no one inherits the pension payments, there's no future payments, and the payments die with the person who owns the single life pension payout. Then you have what's called a joint and survivor annuity, and this is where there's some kind of blended split where there's 2 parties insured. There's the owner of the pension, and then there's the spouse or whoever is the beneficiary of the pension. And usually in exchange for the insurance or the continued payout that goes to the beneficiary, there is a reduction in the total pension payout. Then you have what's called a term certain payout, or term certain, which is going to be where there is a guaranteed period of time that the pension is paid to anybody, including the owner or any beneficiary they state. And at the end of that guaranteed time, let's call it 10 years, there's a bunch of options to select among different lengths of time or durations. But let's say after 10 years, if it was a 10-year certain, then the individual or original owner is the only person insured, and there's no beneficiary after that. In some cases, the pension payouts might even cut off right after that 10-year period. It really just depends on what kind of hybrid of these options you might select. The last option here is lump sum. Some pension providers will provide a lump sum payout option where they'd rather pay you out some kind of estimated balance so that you manage and become the risk holder or the person who manages the income and the investments rather than them. Now, choosing between these 4 items is very particular, and my advice is to work with a professional financial planner to help you understand what are the trade-offs, what are you gaining, what are you giving up if you're to select, let's say, a single life option versus a joint and survivor option. When is a term certain option for you? But the important thing to understand here is that as you move down this tier list, you receive smaller and smaller payout options, because basically what the insurance company or pension provider has to do is insure a second party or insure someone for longer instead of just insuring a single party. And in exchange, what they do is they give you a lower payout option. Now, as you can see, that means that you're going to end up with some variability in your estimate. And if you do the wrong thing or don't know what you're choosing between these 3 things, you could make a catastrophically wrong decision. So the final step in this process is to, 1, get that education and understanding, learn how to select what the right payout option is for you, and then that will yield you a way to go through your estimator and find out what is the actual pension estimate that you will expect when you retire. I have 2 pieces of advice here, which are, 1, you want to be conservative. Don't overestimate your future income. If you're 55 and your pension, if you're going to retire at 62, the estimation tool is going to use an estimate of your future income. Typically, pensions are calculated off of some kind of average of your highest earning years. If you are too aggressive or estimate that you'll get a 2 times raise because you think there's a promotion coming and that never happens, but you run the pension estimate with some very aggressive or ambitious future income goal, you could end up screwed at the point that you retire, because you run all your retirement and saving decisions through this lens, and now you save less because you think your pension is going to produce a much higher income. So be conservative. The second piece of advice is run multiple estimates for multiple ages with multiple types of pension payout options so that you understand the trade-offs and the differences in the income levels you'll get based on the decisions you make around those pension payout options. That gives you flexibility. And also, if you have some runway between when you're going to retire and when you're running these estimates, you can make better decisions and kind of narrow your expectations as you get closer to retirement date so that you have less variability, less margin for error. Hopefully this video was helpful. A pension is a great blessing and a great gift, but also a great responsibility to select the appropriate payout option. If you have a 457, a 403b, or a government employee, those are going to be the most common areas where you'll actually have a pension. Most private employers don't offer that anymore, but if you have those options, you also have some really unique, creative ways to combine those things for financial planning optimization. So if you're interested to learn more about those types of things, please put some notes in the comments. You can ask any questions you might have. I'm happy to answer them. If you have suggestions, please also put those in the comments below this video. As always, thank you for your time and attention. You can always visit our website at thepeakfp.com for more information about our fee-only financial planning firm and how we work with clients. You can schedule a free consultation there. There's also tons of free guides that you can get there, including a retirement health quiz, sample financial plans, asset allocation calculators, and all sorts of things like that. Hopefully this was a helpful video, and we'll see you in the next video.